Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping on. This is our success testimonies with the one and only Charles Brembry in Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Charles. Thank you so much for your time. As you guys all know, my name is Melanie Levitz, and what I love most about what we do is the opportunity to join hands, hear each other's testimonies, watch each other's success, and of course, begin the journey and have the outcomes of weighing the potentials of financial freedom, time freedom. Charles has definitely been all around the world. I see this guy traveling nonstop. As for me, I've been, part of this for 9 years. Charles, I know you've been a part of it for what, 2 years now?
Almost four.
Oh, wow, 4 years. Okay, so just a few more years. My stats are a little behind. So congratulations, first of all, on your success. I know you just reached the level of senior representative. If you guys are just watching, you're just hopping on, that level is equivalent to about an average income of $500 extra a month. So, Charles, you're such an admiration. People, flock to you. Your energy is so positive and uplifting. I absolutely smile as at the moment I see you in the crowd, on a dream trip or at a big national event. Go ahead and share with us a little bit about your background. I know that you said, I apologize. I thought you joined this concept in March 2017. So my stats are a little wrong. So you've been a part of it for 4 years. You were an Air Force contractor. You have 2 degrees. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that and how, where you are today.
Well, Melanie said a lot of it, but I served in the U.S. Air Force for over 20 years. It was 20 years, 7 months, and 6 days to be exact. I traveled through the world with the Air Force, had 8 deployments. I was in a total of 10 units over 7 bases. I had 2 different career fields in the Air Force. I served in communications initially, but the majority of my career, I was in contracting and acquisition. Like I said, numerous deployments, decorations, and I retired as an E8 in 2017. So it was a good career. Dream Trips actually came into my life in July 30th, 2015. So it came into my life, and I've been tripping shortly thereafter. Been on dream trips nonstop, pretty much.
You definitely have been on a lot of dream trips. How many would you say that you've been on up to now?
Up until now, I've been on, actually, when we go to Los Cabos the week after next, that'll be my 39th dream trip. That'll be my
Wow! 39 dream trips. Man, you're about to catch up to me. That would be my 44th dream trip.
Yeah, but you travel a lot. You do other stuff too. So, you get around a lot.
Not as much as you. I see you traveling out there. You're just as close as Stephen Bretler, who's just coming back from Bali.
Yeah, that was a great trip.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for your service. Wow, over 20 years of serving. We truly appreciate you and your sacrifice that you have given to your country and for all of us to have our freedom. What was it, the decision that you created or you saw when you made the decision 4 years ago to say yes to World Ventures? What was behind that? Take us back to that day.
Well, I remember Regina, I think she joined like 2 or 3 days before I joined. And I think I was her first sign up. And she told me, she was like, hey, I just signed up for this thing. I've been seeing my buddy Sam do for the last 5 or 6 years. He's been traveling. He got out of the Air Force. He's earning money with it. So I think Regina gave me a link to a webinar. And I think it was actually Matt Morris. I heard him do the presentation and I was sold. And the next day she called me and I jumped right in. It was no hesitation right there. And I love the concept. They said travel. And I hadn't been on a vacation as an adult at that point in my life. I hadn't been on one vacation as an adult. Going to visit family, that's not a vacation. 3-day weekend from work, that's not a vacation. Dream Trips gave me my first vacation as an adult, and it's changed my life ever since.
I could definitely relate with you. When I saw World Ventures, being from South Florida, my mom and my dad, they just took me to Disney World. And Disney World's great. But when you live down the street and that's all you do, you also don't don't realize the vacations that are available and that are the opportunities to do it with Dream Trips at a highly discounted rate. I was talking to someone yesterday and they're like, you know, I gotta wait a few years to be able to save up to go to Europe. I'm like, well, how much do you got to save? And they're like, couple grand, 2,000. I was like, not with Dream Trips. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, I can definitely show you how to get to Europe this year, you know? And she was very excited. So, you know, you've been on almost 39. I've been on over 40. We absolutely know that we have the deal. So with that being said, we just want to take the next 20 minutes or so just to really understand, you know, the mindset that it took, the difference between when you join and you're like, yes, you know, I love to travel. That's why I joined as well. I wanted to travel, you know, being in the military. That's why I joined the military, to travel. And, you know, like you, Regina shared it with you, you know, we had a mutual friend that shared it with Gina and shared it with me, Sam Kirby. And he also showed me a video. You know, and at the time it was Jefferson Santos, today double IND $1 million ring earner, one of the most amazing leaders in all of our company. And today, you know, he also travels the world and he has a lot of fun. But what's great is that the difference between when the person we are who we join when we join versus the years of, you know, not only the Dream Trips, but the years of the education, the knowledge, and the influence that we get by going to the big events. And I really would love to know, Charles, the difference between when you joined and today's mindset that you have.
Well, I can remember my first event. It was United 2016 in Orlando. That, you know, that's when I met everybody on the Infinity team. And I actually ran into a couple of old guys that I used to work with. And they said they had tried contacting me because they wanted me to be in this concept. But at that time, I was working for another agency, so I didn't have the standard Air Force email. But and they were actually on Infinity, and we ended up going. We did our team luncheon. That's when I first saw you, and I remember I was like, I said, "Who's this short lady with this big ring?" Because you had your 100K ring, and that thing is huge on your little hand. And I remember you got up on the table and you started talking, and I was like, you know, who is she? And later on, you know, Sam told me like, yo, that's Melanie. She's this. She's been doing this. I signed her up. And I was like, okay, this is something I can get behind. And then plus the majority of our team were active military or prior military. So I could definitely pattern myself after them, seeing the moves that they make. And that just let me know that it was that much more possible. And just from going to the events, you know, I haven't missed a national event since I've been in. I go to all of the events. I meet people. Personal development that you get from the training, I mean, it's priceless, you know, and you don't even want to call it training. It's like a party and you're learning. It's edutainment, I heard somebody say, because you learn. And when you process these things and live these things, I mean, it's amazing what you can accomplish. I listen to personal development every day, whether it's Johnny Wembry or Matt Morris or some of my audios, you know, from the Advantage. I mean, I live these things. You got to get you a mantra. You know, you got to motivate yourself to get out here and do this stuff. And when you think about what we do, it's not that difficult. You're just talking to people about something you do. I mean, we did that when we were in the military. People do that on Facebook every day, advertising for a movie that they went to go see. Why not do this about something that's directly affecting your life? And that's what I do. That's what we do by posting pics of our travel and letting people know, hey, if this is something you want to do, send me a DM, reach out to me. I can show you exactly how I do this, and you can see how it's changed my life for the better. And I definitely tell anybody about this 7 days a week, no matter how many times a day. I just had a presentation this morning at breakfast at 7 o'clock. I met some guys, and it's just, it shows. I know my demeanor has changed the last 4 years about being around such positive people and learning things from, you know, people such as yourself, Sam, Greg, and I mean, just the national and international leaders that I come in contact with, the IMDs. And I mean, it's a life-changing event. And you got to have persistence to do this. We were just talking about this weekend. And actually, I was talking about it this morning. You know, when somebody tells you no, the first time you can kind of knock back on your heels, but you shouldn't be that way because you're seeing the life that you're living and you want to share that with some person. If they tell you no, hey, I'm probably just going on a trip next week, so my life isn't bad. It's yours to suffering. Uh, you just got to go through the numbers. You got to remember everybody runs their own race. It's not a competition. There's people out there to help you, people like yourself. You tell me every time we talk, hey, if you need some help closing or you want to do a three-way, give me a call. You're not in this by yourself. And I realize that coming from my background, I think I have to accomplish everything by myself. This is really a team. I mean, it's a huge team. I talk to Sam every Monday and he tells me the same thing. Like, yo, bro, if you need some help, call me. I'll help you close. You tell me that. I got a text from Martin Ruoff when I made senior rep congratulating me. So even though it's a big company, this is a real small family and everybody's willing to help you do anything that you need to do.
Wow, you said a lot. You are absolutely right. And, it's just a prime example. You speak what you preach. And that's literally what it boils down to. You said so many great things. You talked about the audios of listening to one of our top leaders, 3-time international marketing director, the highest level in the company, who hit it 3 times, Matt Morris. Where is it that you go to find these audios? I know you talked about the Advantage program, which is a great tool to utilize for as low as $6 a month to have access online to all of the audios, all of the magazines, all of the training videos for $6 a month. You can find that in your back office under the Advantage program. I know things like our app, but what is it that where do you go to listen to audios or to hear Greg or myself, leaders of Team Infinity, and train you while, we may not be in your backyard and be able to grab your hand and be like, hey, this is how we do it. But you're there. What are you using?
Well, there are numerous audios, like you said, the Advantage. And then also from our last few events, when you've registered for the event, they send you the MP3 of the event. So you have that to use, that at your disposal. At any of the events, they're selling the audio CDs. I usually catch the lives that Matt and Johnny do on a daily basis. They probably do between the 10 to 15-minute live each day, covering the topic, and I catch them as I can.
Facebook, when you say live?
I'm sorry?
When you say live, is that on Facebook? Where are they live?
They do Facebook Lives quite frequently. Okay. They do Facebook Lives quite frequently, and then they also do it on Instagram. You can catch those guys doing the stuff on Instagram. But I mean, but when I first came in, people run down, they tell you have to be coachable and you have to be teachable. And I find that that's really true. I'm seeing it at this point in my career, my position, because the personal development is big, because that's ingraining that in you. And you get online or just have an audio, listen to it on the way to work, on the way to the grocery store a couple of times a day. You'll learn something new. You'll learn something about follow-up or approach or closing or things of that nature, because, every sale is different, trying to enroll people and expose them to what we do. I mean, not only do I listen to people in the company, but, you have the greats like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. You can find those guys out there on Facebook or YouTube. So, I mean, you listen to somebody positive, somebody that resonates with you. What they always say is you take advice or you model yourself after someone who is already where you want to be. And I mean, that's what I'm doing with a lot of the people in the company and people that I met outside the company that are doing things that I want to do.
Wow, you're absolutely right. You talked about the demeanor and the team and, battling the no's, that our friends and our family will tell us. Just literally before we started, I have people on Instagram, trying to sell me leads and followers and likes. And I'm like, no, and they don't stop. And a lot of times they'd be like, well, why? You don't want to listen. It's like, well, because I'm not interested. And that's when the war within comes out for that other person. Like, oh my gosh, they said no. Why did they say no? They don't like me. My hair looks bad. Maybe my makeup was wrong, or maybe I'm not in the right physique. All of these things that come in our mind, and you hit it right on the knot, is just the teamwork. Picking up the phone, applying yourself into the knowledge with the audios, even going on, YouTube and finding, audios for myself, or going on our Team Infinity, app and checking out the videos and the audios. There's just so much great content 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 out there that you're absolutely right. It's available. And if you want it, it's just a matter of reaching out. So yeah, thank you so much for hitting on that. And, I want to know a little bit, during your journey getting to senior rep, because, for you, it took a few years. For me, it took almost 2 years myself. So I understand the process, and it was for me, it was the consistency. I really would love to know what was the difference between, you realizing like, okay, I just need to do this, or I need to get that, and you were able to achieve your goal. What happened in that process?
Even from the beginning, like I said, being around military and ex-military, being able to put my hands on you guys, let me know that this is something achievable. It's not like me meeting an IMD who I don't know from anybody telling me I can do it. I've seen a tech sergeant do it. I've seen a master sergeant do it. I've seen a major do it. So that let me know that this goal was achievable. But I mean, it's just going through the numbers. You can't prejudge anyone. You have to ask anyone that you might happen to strike up a conversation with. I've seen you do a training on it before, talking about form. You meet someone, you ask them about their family, their occupation, what they do for recreation, and go into the message. That gives you a little bit of idea about a person on what they do, what they like, and how to approach them. And I mean, it comes from time. Some people pick up sooner than others, but I've seen you do it casually a couple of times when we were out, I think in Mexico at Sam's wedding. Once you start doing things, it becomes natural for you, and it's not uneasy. It doesn't feel weird. You got to use your 2-on-1s if possible. You don't have to do this by yourself. And I tell people in my downline, which isn't that long, all the time, hey, don't do this by yourself. Just give me a call, shoot me a text. I can coach you through it. I can get on the phone and assist you, just like Sam is willing to do for me. I've been talking to people many times face-to-face and texting under the table, hitting Sam with questions, and he's answering me that fast. And I've gotten him on the phone before. Just recently, last month, I signed up a couple, and they were contemplating a destination wedding. Who better to tell about that than Sam? He had a destination wedding in November. So we have all these resources. You don't have to go into any of these situations by yourself. When I talk to single women, I use your story, for example, because that's motivating to them, to let them know it's like, hey, I can do this by myself. She's the single high income earner in the company, and she's a female with an Air Force background. There's something about everybody you meet in World Ventures that'll resonate with someone else. So that's why I say use your uplines, use your sidelines, use your downlines. Someone has a story that'll resonate with someone else. Use them for verification, use them for validation. When I go into meetings, when I close the meetings, I ask the person for a yes or a no. Are they ready to get started? They tell me yes, hey, we'll knock it out. If they happen to tell me no, I can't work through their objections, I say, hey, if you change your mind, I got the first right of refusal. Give me a call back. Better yet, if you know anyone you think this applies to, put them in contact with me. So I'm not walking away from getting a no as a total loss. I'm hopefully working into somebody else's network. One of the other things that I've learned is sometimes no response is a response. Some people will duck and dodge from you forever and a day just not to tell you no. And, eventually they go on my no list, no matter how many times they like my pictures. I know that person doesn't want to change their lives, and that's fine with me. I know I can't help everybody, but my goal is to help as many people as I can.
Wow, you definitely are, Charles. You're a prime example of what it takes to win, and it's just having fun. This is a travel club, and people tend to forget that. And when we stop having fun, we bring that energy to the people that we're sharing it with. And if you're not having fun, then why would they want to join a fun travel club, right? Absolutely. So great point. You talked about the simple system, the simple steps, doing what we do already. And that's going on a vacation, taking a picture, and posting it and sharing it with our friends and loved ones. So now we're able to do it except we're holding up a blue sign, you should be here, and we're getting paid to do just that. And it's as simple as just, as you said, you know, getting out there, meeting people. You talked about form, which is family, occupation, recreation, and either the message or the money. And if you're the introvert person, it's just a matter of, you know, stepping out and saying hi, or even taking a small step with just even a smile. When you smile at somebody, their reaction is to smile back. So take the little steps, then move on to the high, then move on to where you're from, then move on to what do you do for a living? Because when you get to those points and you ask that question, oh, where are you from? What do you do for a living? Guess what happens? They're going to ask you the same thing. And Charles, you know, you're definitely a great recruiter. You're just, you know, you're a bundle of love, and you're such a fireball of energy. As I said earlier, it's just so great to always be around you. I can't wait to see you on Los Cabos in 2 weeks. Wow, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. We rented out the entire marquee. It's rated on CNN's top 25 travel destinations in the world on CNN. And out of the entire resort, we took over the whole thing for just our team. We got a videographer. We're going to have a blast, welcome reception, parties. I can't wait to see you. I hope you saw that the inserts of the dress up themes with the hats and the blue, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get there, I would definitely love to talk to you and know the difference between someone that attends the big events, or even the regional events, the national events that we have 4 times a year, versus someone that we didn't. You know, for me and my background, in the last 9 years, I missed one event, and it was because I was deployed in the military. And there was another event that I almost missed, but they had another one in another country, so I actually flew to another country versus the United States to attend that event. So I know for me how valuable it is, because, you know, I grew up on food stamps and welfare. I didn't have the knowledge of entrepreneurship and networking and residual income. I didn't even know what residual income meant, right? At 28 years young when I saw this. So I want to know from your perspective, Charles, what was it, the difference for you as far as you now, I've seen you at all the events. What is the difference for you, you know, sharing the idea of how important the training is in this business?
The training is essential, and you know, people think that, oh no, it's just another meeting. No, it's something that keeps you close to the campfire. It keeps you motivated, and people really don't see how serious that is about being motivated. The national events are huge. It's when you get to see people, see what they're training on in their market, see what they're producing in their market. That's somebody that you could probably get to your market to spark some fire. You know, and the national events, like I say, are huge. You meet those new people. You see the new up and comers, and these are people that you make connections with, because you might be elevating each other at the same time. And then you have the regional training events, which are priceless. Like, we had a regional training event here a couple of weeks ago. We had Martin Ruoff and we had Lily Ennis. I actually got to talk to Martin after the event. You know, he's the top of our line, you know, our IMD. And I sat there and talked with him after dinner, and I was like, look, man, I got to do this, a couple of more, and I'm going to hit senior rep. And he was like, man, you can do this. You know, I sat there and talked with him and Papo. I didn't know you signed up Papo, so we even had more stories about that. Story went on at the end of the month. Prior to the end of the month, I hit senior rep in just 5 days after talking to Martin. And he sent me a congratulations text. You told me you were going to do it. I mean, that's huge. You got international knighted trainer, IMD original of the company, sent me a text congratulating me on senior rep. You know, I'm so far on his downline, he probably needs a microscope to see it. But I mean, that's the connections that you make with people. He thought enough of this guy, meeting him 5 days ago, to send me that text. And it's just relationships like this that you form with people that you meet. Like, I've known Papo for a couple of years, and we sat there and told stories, and he was like, man, I come to Dallas all the time. If you need me to help you close on something or do some training with your people, I'm just a phone call away. And you don't meet people like that when you're just sitting at home, not talking to anybody, saying it doesn't work because you got a couple of no's. You meet those people, they help you grow your business, and you can go to their market and help them grow their business. It's like a big family. And I know, coming from the military, people always say that, but this is like the best family I've been involved with. Sitting down, talking with Papo, I knew we were on the same team, but I didn't know Melanie signed him up. And he shared with me that story about how he was and how his personality has changed and how he's gotten better from the personal development that he's received from people in the company. And it just helps change people for the better, whether it's your personal development, whether it's your emotional development, or whether it's just your intelligence and learning about yourself in general. It's so much you can pick up from going to the national events and the regional training events. And you, bottom line, need that to grow your business. And as you grow your business, you get your people to see the importance of it. They come, it lights a fire in them, and it gets your business going forward. It gives you momentum that you wouldn't ordinarily get because they can see the benefits of attending training, the benefits of not being scared to talk to people, the benefits of not prejudging, just talking to people and working through it, getting the people in and helping them win. That's it.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it is latching on to the people that, you know, have been where we want to go, have achieved what we want to achieve, whether it's the car, whether it's the house, whether it's the lifestyle, the family, you know, it's all of that. And it's just a matter, as you said, you know, latching on to them. You know, you mentioned Sam and Papa, they're amazing, great leaders, marketing directors on our team. And those are great people to reach out to. They've, you know, been through the challenges, they've achieved the financial freedom. And now today they're, you know, they're living that lifestyle. And it's great to see, you know, not only, you know, we're business partners, but we also become, as you said, a family where we become great friends and we get to see each other at least, you know, 4 times a year at our big national events. And, you know, you've been through it. You have 2 degrees, right? You know, you understand how success happens. It's by getting trained, it's by getting educating, and it's applying the knowledge that you've learned to achieve the financial freedom that you want to achieve. And, you know, again, with going to the events, for me personally, they knew when I first went, they said, Melanie, you're coming to boot camp, right? And it was my first time, 2010, and my sponsor, Sam, was going on his very first dream trip. So I was like, no way, there's no way. And what's amazing is they knew my why. They knew that I joined the business to meet other successful entrepreneurs, because at the time it wasn't World Ventures. For me, World Ventures was a couple $100 a month and pay off some credit card bills. But when I got to the big event, they introduced me to the top earners in the company. And that's when I was like, okay, I know this is real. I understand that I have connections and I can meet people, and it's not just here's a business and go, you know, build it. No, it's a family. And not once, I'm sure you can relate in the military, did I have a 4-star general or the chief master sergeant, the highest ranks in the company, in the military, come down and be like, hey, you know, how about we have a study session and I help you, you know, study to rank up to the next promotion. You know, it was, hey, I'm going to try to outrank you and beat you to take the level so you don't take it. Here, it's like the people at the very top want to help the people that just get started, because we want you to take our position. Because the goal is for all of us to be on the beaches of the world, and it's just a matter of the duplication and getting to the events and realizing in yourself that you can do it, and understanding and believing in the system and in the industry is so vital. So with that, you know, we have a huge event coming up. One of my favorite events, boot camp in Frisco, Texas. July 19th through the 21st, 22nd days. And they're gonna, it's not, you know, death by PowerPoint, as we say in the military, right? It's a lot of fun. You know, tell me, Charles, how much fun do you have at these events?
The boot camps, specifically, the boot camps have been great. My first boot camp in 2016 was in Miami. And one of my big takeaways from that, something that I learned, was from Dave Uloa, and that was blitzing. You know, the concept of blitzing. And I started blitzing to try to build up my team. The next year at boot camp, it was in Miami again in 2017. I brought my first person with me. My best friend was able to make the boot camp trip. And I mean, it was just exciting. And he got to see the energy and everything that goes into it. And last year's boot camp in Charlotte, that was an experience for me because just sitting in the audience, I ranked up. That's when they created the 3-star rep. I went into Charlotte as a qualified rep. I came out of Charlotte as a 3-star rep, earning a residual check. So, I mean, you have to be there to realize the excitement, the energy, and to definitely get the knowledge, because even when you go to the training, they always have some type of perks where it's, because you attended, you get a certain percentage off this trip, or they've been giving out the trip raffles, or it was one event, somebody on our team won a car. So, I mean, it pays to show up for events. It's beneficial not only to your business, but beneficial to you personally. And you got to take that away. That is you can't put a price on it.
Yeah. Oh man, that was amazing. I remember our friend, she won the I-8. You know, my very first event, they had the residual income. It is similar to you. It was 180 people to earn residual income. And my very first event, they announced it for only 60. And now, like you, today it's 12. What? 12 people to earn residual income. So again, thank you so much, Charles, for your time, for your experience. Congratulations on hitting a senior rep. I know you're just getting warmed up. You're super excited. We're going to be in Mexico next week. You guys are watching this. You know, what is one last thing to say to everybody? Leave them with one last word. What would that be?
Pay attention, get excited, never quit. I mean, you can't go wrong with that mantra. It's true. I lived it. I'm living proof of it. I embody that, because the momentum is coming, because I planted those seeds. It's always some people coming in. That's what you got to focus on.
Absolutely. As Marcus said, as our director of training says, get excited, pay attention, and never, ever, ever, ever quit. And if you think about that, the last part is so important, because anything that you've ever achieved and succeeded in, you never quit. And anything that you didn't, you ended up quitting, right? So get out there, get your tickets to wveventreg.com, boot camp, July 19th through the 21st in Frisco, Texas. We will be there. Grab your tickets today and let's get a picture as we are celebrating life. And congratulations again, Charles. We'll see you in a few weeks in Mexico. Yes! Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.